This message is your confirmation that your divine calling is real. You weren't chosen for an easy path. You were chosen for a purposeful one. The war you've been fighting, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, was not a sign of weakness, but a sign of importance. Darkness only attacks what threatens it, and you, chosen one, have always carried a light powerful enough to disrupt entire levels of spiritual resistance. That is why the battle has felt so intense. Your light is necessary. Your presence is needed. Your calling is active. So hear me clearly. This is a message from God. Your spiritual awakening is not a phase. Your divine calling is not a fantasy. You are not imagining the shift. You were called, shaped, tested, and prepared for this exact moment. And now, heaven is standing behind you. If this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it, you were called. 1. Chosen one. Listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is directly connected to the silent season you just came out of. You didn't walk through that silence for nothing. You didn't endure that heaviness without purpose. Your obedience, the kind that nobody saw, nobody praised, and nobody understood, has activated God's next move in your life. And I need you to fully receive this. Heaven has been watching you the entire time. Every quiet decision you made, every temptation you resisted, every moment you held your tongue, every time you chose peace instead of chaos, every time you walked away instead of fighting for validation, that was obedience. That was spiritual maturity. That was the evidence of your divine calling working inside you long before anyone else could see it. You see, chosen one, God often places his strongest warriors in silent seasons. These are not punishment seasons. They are preparation chambers. They are spiritual training grounds. When God brings a chosen one into hiddenness, it is because he is developing qualities inside of them that cannot be shaped under bright lights. Obedience grows best in silence. Strength grows best in isolation. Discernment grows best in the moments when you feel like nobody sees you. And God was watching the entire time. He saw the unseen loyalty. He saw the silent suffering. He saw the unspoken sacrifices you made because your heart wanted to do right, even when doing right cost you more than anyone will ever know. You obeyed even when it hurt. You stayed faithful even when you were ignored. You kept believing even when your faith felt thin. And this is what you need to understand. Spiritual awakening almost always begins privately. It begins when God is still rewiring your heart, healing your wounds, removing your attachments, and revealing your true identity. The world doesn't see the awakening at first, but heaven sees it. And now, this is your moment to realize that everything you endured in silence was shaping you for the elevation that is about to unfold in public. Chosen one, God's message is not coming to you randomly. It is unfolding now because the timing is divine. There were seasons where God had to keep you hidden because if he elevated you too early, the wrong people would have had access to you. Wrong hands, wrong hearts, wrong environments. So he protected you through delay. He shielded you through rejection. He covered you through disappointment. Every closed door was divine favor disguised. Every detour was spiritual joy being prepared for you in the future. And now that you have passed the private test, God says the public shift can begin. You were not just being isolated, you were being sharpened. You were not just being quiet, you were being aligned. You were not just waiting. You were becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming more spiritually sensitive, becoming more rooted in your divine calling. And now, the timing of God is meeting the growth of your soul. The unseen obedience, has opened the door to the next phase of your destiny. Chosen one, your life has been marked by invisible battles. You fought wars in your spirit that no one around you ever recognized. You battled thoughts, fears, doubts, and spiritual attacks that would have crushed another person. You navigated nights of heaviness where you had to encourage yourself because no one else had the language to support you. And through all of that, you stayed loyal to God. You stayed aligned with the purpose inside you. That kind of loyalty is rare. That kind of endurance is holy. That kind of faith is exactly why God's next move is about to be undeniable in your life. You obeyed without applause. You obeyed without reward. You obeyed without anyone clapping for you. And heaven recorded every moment of that obedience. That is why you are stepping into divine favor now. That is why spiritual joy is beginning to rise again in places inside you where the hope had grown quiet. That is why God says He is elevating you, not just emotionally, not just spiritually, but in every area of your life where you stayed faithful despite the pressure. Chosen one, it is so important for you to understand that elevation always comes after internal transformation. God had to transform you before He could trust you with what was coming. He had to stretch your character, strengthen your spirit, and refine your discernment. Because the next chapter of your life requires a version of you that understands the weight of purpose, not just the desire for blessings. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. And now that the preparation is complete, God says the elevation is beginning. Everything you walked through was part of your divine calling. You were not imagining the battle. You were not imagining the opposition. You were not imagining the spiritual pressure. The war was real because your calling is real. The resistance was strong because your purpose is powerful. Darkness sees what you carry, long before you recognize it yourself. That is why you felt attacked in seasons where you weren't even doing anything wrong. That is why certain people turned against you without reason. That is why certain situations suddenly shifted. You are not the kind of soul that can live a normal life. You were set apart. You were chosen. You were marked with something heaven invests in and hell fears. And now, this message has reached you to remind you of who you really are. This is a message from God. Your spiritual awakening is not a delusion. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. Your calling is not a fantasy. Everything inside you that has been stirring, everything that has been shifting, everything that has been awakening, it is real. You were called. You were chosen. You were appointed for a purpose far greater than the pain you had to walk through. Chosen one, your light is necessary. The world is darker than ever, and your presence carries something that can break spiritual heaviness wherever you go. Your obedience in silence has unlocked divine favor. Your hidden loyalty has activated God's next move. And your elevation has already started, even if you cannot see it yet. So hear this clearly. You are not imagining the change in the atmosphere. You are not imagining the spiritual pull. You are not imagining the calling you feel rising again inside you. This is your moment. This is your confirmation. This is your alignment with destiny. If this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it, you were called. 2. Chosen one, now that you understand the power of your silent obedience, you must also understand what that obedience has opened in the spiritual realm. Divine favor is not random. It does not fall without reason. It does not locate a soul unless heaven has found evidence of loyalty, surrender, and alignment. And you, chosen one, have given heaven more than enough reason to pour divine favor into every area of your life. You walked through the silent season with integrity. You endured the hidden battles with courage. You carried spiritual weight without collapsing. and because you remained faithful through the unseen storms, divine favor is now rising to meet you in ways that will shake your entire life into alignment. Divine favor touches the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual all at once. It is not a small shift. It is not a gentle whisper. It is a spiritual wave that begins in the unseen and then becomes impossible for the natural world to ignore. And this is what you are stepping into. This is the season where everything begins to move differently around you. Things that resisted you before will suddenly make room for you. People who dismissed you before will become irrelevant to your journey. Environments that felt heavy will lose their hold on you. God is realigning your life from the inside out, and the change will not be subtle. Chosen one, your spiritual awakening was the beginning of the transformation, but the external breakthroughs are the evidence. Heaven always works internally before it manifests externally. First, God shifts the heart. Then, He shifts the circumstances. First, He awakens the spirit. Then, He awakens the environment. And now, because your spirit has awakened, your life must follow. This is why you have been feeling a strange sense of inner movement, a pull, a shift, a quiet knowing that something is changing. That is not imagination. That is not wishful thinking. That is divine favor, warming the path ahead of you so that the breakthroughs can come with ease. This message from God is here to correct your understanding. You are not behind. You are not blocked. You are not forgotten. You are being aligned. God had to reorder certain parts of your life so that His blessings would not attach themselves to the wrong settings. There were relationships that could not go with you. There were environments that could not hold you. There were patterns inside you that had to be broken and rebuilt. There were attachments that had to be cut off for your own safety. God says the delay was protection. You didn't lose time. You avoided destruction. What you thought was stagnation was actually preservation. What you thought was rejection was actually divine redirection. And what you thought was loneliness was God clearing the room for your elevation. Divine favor is now beginning its work. You will feel it emotionally first. The heaviness that clung to you for months will begin to lift. The anxiety that used to sit on your chest will loosen. The confusion that kept you second-guessing yourself will dissolve. Divine favor restores emotional clarity. It brings spiritual joy back into places that grief, betrayal, and disappointment once drained. You will feel lighter, even without a visible reason. You will wake up with a sense of peace that does not match your circumstances. That is how divine favor enters the heart. Then divine favor will touch your relationships. People who do not match your calling will drift away without drama. People who carry genuine love, truth, and spiritual alignment will begin to appear. New connections will flow easily because you are no longer choosing from fear or loneliness. Your heart is being guided by the same divine wisdom that protected you during the silent season. You will no longer be attracted to what breaks you. You will recognize manipulation immediately. You will sense deception before it reaches your door. God's message is guiding your discernment now, and because of that, every connection in your life will begin to realign under divine authority. After that, divine favor will touch your path. Closed doors that once refused to budge will open with little effort. Opportunities that passed you by before will return in better form. Ideas will begin to flow. Creativity will reignite. Motivation that felt dead will rise again with fire. This is the season where you stop pushing and start receiving. You stop forcing and start flowing. You stop begging and start attracting. Because when God says it is your time, everything that belongs to you becomes magnetized to your spirit. Chosen one, your environment is about to shift. You may feel a pull to move, to rearrange, to reorganize, to prepare. This is not restlessness. This is preparation from heaven pressing on your spirit. Divine favor does not settle in stagnant spaces. It creates movement. It brings clarity. It brings restoration. It brings realignment. It brings order. And because God's message is unfolding in your life right now, everything that has been chaotic will begin to settle. Everything that has been confusing will make sense in hindsight. Everything that has been heavy will be lifted. Divine favor never enters quietly. It transforms everything it touches. This is your season where breakthroughs become normal. This is your season where restoration replaces loss. This is your season where your divine calling becomes visible. And this is your season where spiritual awakening becomes power instead of pain. You are stepping into a timeline where your life no longer mirrors your suffering, it mirrors your purpose. And because of that, God says nothing that was taken from you will remain missing. What was broken will be rebuilt. What was stolen will be returned. What was delayed will be delivered. And what was denied will be replaced with something better. Chosen one, hear this again, so your spirit absorbs it. This is a message from God. You are not imagining these shifts. You are not imagining the breakthroughs coming toward you. You are not imagining the calling rising within you. The war you fought was real. The pain you endured was real. The spiritual attacks you faced were real. And because all of it was real, the divine favor that follows is real. You have entered a season where your light is necessary and undeniable. Heaven has decided to elevate you, and nothing in this world or the spiritual realm can interfere with what God has already commanded for your life. You were called, you were chosen, you were shaped for this. And now divine favor is about to touch every area of your existence. If this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it, you were called. 3. Chosen one, you are being elevated precisely because you were set apart. This part of your journey was never about rejection, abandonment, or being overlooked. It was about divine separation. It was about God pulling you away from what could not grow with you, what could not support your purpose, and what could not remain attached to the future He designed for you. You were not isolated by accident. You were isolated by intention. Heaven removed you from the noise so you could hear the truth about who you are, so you could finally recognize your sacred identity, and so your spiritual awakening could unfold without interference. Chosen one, there is a spiritual reason behind every moment of silence you endured. God needed to prune you. Pruning is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the process where everything unsteady, unsafe, or unaligned is cut away so that your spirit can grow stronger, your purpose can grow deeper, and your destiny can unfold without distortion. That is why certain people could not stay in your life. That is why certain relationships suddenly cracked. That is why environments that once felt familiar became uncomfortable. God was pushing you out of the places that were too small for your calling. You did not lose people. You outgrew them. You did not lose opportunities. You surpassed them. You did not lose stability. You were being transitioned into something greater. This is what divine separation looks like for a chosen one. It feels lonely, but it is sacred. It feels heavy, but it is holy. It feels confusing, but it is necessary. God set you apart because the calling on your life is not common. Your journey cannot be crowded. Your purpose cannot be shared. Your anointing cannot be diluted. And your identity cannot be built on opinions, approval, or acceptance from those who do not understand who you are. Chosen one, the warfare you faced was not a coincidence. It was evidence. Evidence that you carry something powerful, evidence that your divine calling is real, evidence that your spirit threatens darkness. You have been fighting battles that others cannot see because your assignment carries weight in the unseen realm. Attacks do not come to the weak. They come to the chosen. Demonic resistance does not target the ordinary, it targets the anointed. The war was real because your purpose is real. The heaviness you felt was spiritual pressure. The confusion you walked through was spiritual interference. The obstacles that blocked your path were spiritual tests designed to strengthen your soul. You survived all of it because you were built for all of it. And now, because you remained faithful through pruning and persistent through warfare, God says the elevation that is coming to you is not small. It is not subtle. It is not partial. It is a full life elevation. Elevation in your spirit. Elevation in your mind. Elevation in your relationships. Elevation in your purpose. Elevation in the way you walk, speak, think, and carry yourself. This is not the kind of elevation that lifts you slightly. This is the kind that changes your entire direction. Chosen one, you were set apart so that when God lifted you, there would be no doubt about who did it. He needed you separate so the elevation could be pure. He needed you alone so you could hear his voice clearly. He needed you hidden so that nothing and no one could claim credit for the divine work unfolding in your life. You are a vessel of purpose, and heaven takes the protection of purpose seriously. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour, it was all heaven guarding your destiny. Your spiritual maturity grew the most in the moments when you felt least understood. You learned patience in the moments when God was silent. You learned resilience through the nights you cried. You learned endurance through battles that felt never-ending. You learned discernment through people who betrayed you. You learned wisdom through experiences that broke you. And all of that growth has prepared you for the elevation you are stepping into now. This is why spiritual joy is returning. This is why peace is resurfacing. This is why your mind feels clearer and your heart feels lighter. You have survived the pruning. Now you will taste the promise. Chosen one, being set apart, means you were chosen for higher things, deeper things, sacred things. Your life has never been ordinary because heaven has never viewed you as ordinary. Every hardship you endured shaped your strength. Every loss shaped your compassion. Every battle shaped your authority. Every setback shaped your wisdom. And now, everything that was shaping you is about to show itself in the elevation God is releasing over your life. You are not being elevated into visibility just for your benefit. You are being elevated because your light is necessary. There are people who will come out of darkness because they witnessed your rise. There are souls who will find hope because they see your transformation. There are hearts who will heal because you survived what tried to destroy you. Your story is not just yours. It is a message from God written through your life. Your survival is a testimony. Your breakthrough is a sign. Your elevation is a message sent to every soul who needs to believe again. Chosen one, this is the moment where destiny begins to move. This is where God's hand becomes visible. This is where your spiritual awakening becomes your spiritual authority. This is where your divine calling steps forward with strength. And this is where every attack that once intimidated you becomes powerless in the presence of your purpose. Hear me clearly. You are not imagining the shift. You are not imagining the pull. You are not imagining the change inside you. This is a message from God. Your calling is awakening. Your spirit is rising. Your elevation is unfolding. And your identity as the chosen one is becoming undeniable. Everything that made you feel different, everything that made you feel separate, everything that made you feel isolated, it was divine evidence that you were chosen long before you knew it. Chosen one, the war was real because your purpose is real. But the elevation will be even more real. The favor will be tangible. The restoration will be visible. The spiritual joy will overflow. And the light inside you will touch places you never imagined reaching. You were called. You were chosen. You were set apart. And now you are being elevated. If this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it, you were called. Conclusion: your elevation has already begun. Keep walking in faith. From the very beginning, this message has been a deep confirmation, a divine revelation sent directly into your spirit. It was not imagination, it was not coincidence, it was not a passing thought. This was a message from God, delivered to remind you of who you are, why you were set apart, and why your path has never felt ordinary. You are the chosen one, marked, called, and awakened in a time when many are spiritually asleep, but not you. Because within you, a light has been moving for years, waiting for this exact moment to ignite fully. Your spiritual awakening did not start today. It began the moment your pain stopped being just pain and became instruction. It began when your tears were no longer signs of defeat, but seeds for a new season. It began when what rejected you, what isolated you, what hurt you, pushed you to look upward instead of outward. Because from above is where your divine calling came. And today, once again, God is saying clearly, your elevation has already begun. Look at your life through spiritual eyes for a moment. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was a delay without purpose. Everything you walked through, even the moments you crawled, brought you to the exact threshold where you stand now. Obedience, awakening, favor, elevation. This has been your journey, even when you didn't realize it. Obedience opened the door. Awakening sharpened your vision. Favor covered you quietly when you had no strength. Elevation is now surrounding you, even if you can't see the full picture yet. And here is the truth: your spirit already knows you were not chosen now, you were chosen all along. The enemy saw it before you did, which is why the warfare was so intense. Your soul felt it before your mind understood it, which is why your transitions were so deep. And God declared it before you were born, which is why every time you tried to walk away, your life was redirected back to this moment. Because when God calls a chosen one, that calling never returns empty. Today, this conclusion is not an ending. It is an activation. It is a declaration over your life. You are stepping into a new level of spiritual clarity, inner strength, and divine alignment. Your identity is shifting. Your energy is shifting. Your direction is shifting. You are moving into a life where what used to drain you will no longer touch you, and what once felt distant is now coming toward you in supernatural ways. Feel this in your spirit. The door is already open. The grace has already fallen. The light is already surrounding you. The transition is complete. The elevation is in motion. All you need to do is keep walking in faith, even when you don't understand how, even when you can't see the path. God is not asking you to see. God is asking you to believe, and you, as the chosen one, are ready. So if something in these words stirred your heart, if you felt truth rise within you, if your spirit recognized the message it has been waiting for, this is your final confirmation. You did not imagine it. You did not make it up. This was not random. This was a message from God, sent directly to you. You were called. You were chosen. Your light is necessary, and your elevation has already begun. If this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it, you were called. May divine blessing cover you, guide you, and strengthen you. Your new season begins now.